Aye.
Do you think we'll be able to go over question 5 from that worksheet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me look at it. Fine. Hello? We'll wait a couple more minutes, I guess. Hello? I guess we'll get started. After this one, I don't know where SOC is with his license yet. They haven't emailed me about that. So I will try to upload it when it's finished. And if that doesn't work, I'll just have to cut it up into approximately 15-minute segments again. And that'll just take me a little bit more time. Were the videos, I assume you were able to watch those? No issues? Is that correct? Well, I didn't get an email from anybody, so I'm guessing you're okay. So Colin had a question. Did anybody else have questions on the packet? All right, then I'll just try to remember that you have a question at the end. Hello? All right, so for today, what I want to go over is start a new topic. This one is momentum. You probably have heard of it. It's one of the more famous quantities in physics. And we'll talk a little bit about energy too. So that's kind of where we're going in the future weeks. I did put up a worksheet for you. So yeah, there is a worksheet that goes along with this. Hopefully it's not too bad. So I'm just want to spend today talking about what momentum is, how you calculate it, how it's used, its relationship to energy, and things like that. So I'm going to switch over to the Inkscape, and I'm just going to talk for a while. And so if you have any questions or want to stop me, feel free, just say something. And but I won't be seeing your faces until I switch back over. I better present, I guess. All right. Everybody can see that? Good. All right, I'm going to try to illustrate it again in Inkscape. I really kind of should have done this at the other school because I just bought a pen display that I can write on. So it'd be a little bit easier than the mouse, but I'll try to make it work again today. So we have, let me do a better font. The topic will be momentum. That looks fine. So this is an old concept. Back when Newton started formalizing, I mean, there was people studying motion before that. Galileo famously measured the acceleration of gravity. He built, things fell too quickly to measure accurately how quickly things fell. So Galileo would, he built a sort of inclined ramp. And it was sort of like, I don't know if I can do it justice here. The ball would just sort of roll down this ramp, and if he made it very slightly, like not a very steep ramp, the ball would slowly accelerate, and then it would go down the other groove. And he was better able to measure the acceleration of, first he made it a fraction of what it normally falls at with this inclined plane. And then he was able to kind of accurately measure how quickly things fell. So people definitely studied motion before Newton, but Newton systematized it kind of like Euclid systematized geometry with the book he wrote. But Newton wrote a book when Euclid wrote his book about geometry. It was called The Elements, I believe. When Newton wrote his, it's called the Principia, the Principles of Motion. Actually, I think the Principles of Natural Philosophy. At the time, physics would have been referred to as natural philosophy, as opposed to what we now call it physics. But back then, Newton would refer to what we would now call momentum. He actually referred to it as the quantity of motion. So for Newton, momentum kind of was motion, or the quantity of motion. So how much motion? Well, you can quantify it with this notion of momentum. So again, we had previously the position of an object. We had the velocity, the acceleration, the moment in time. We then introduced the mass of the object and the force on that object. So we had some variables, some quantities that we used. These ones are like directly measurable. These other ones, you kind of have to infer their values based on observing how they move. This newer set that we introduced more recently were more involved in explaining why things move the way they move, whereas these were more just a description of how they're moving. So momentum is the new one. That's given by P. And it has a very simple formula. The momentum is just the mass of an object multiplied by its velocity.